Hi, great, welcome back to David Anderson Longbow Arrows, and what we're going to do today is we're going to be taking our full length shaft and we're going to be cutting it down. This is the fun bit now. Now, there are two ways of doing this. There's the easy way and there's the hard way. First of all, I'm going to show you the hard way. I've got camera number 2 set up over here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, this is my cutting jig. Okay, so it's a piece of CLS timber. It's about 48 inches long, and what I've done is I've routed a groove. The groove is about 3 or 4 mil deep, all the way down the thing. At this end here, I've made a cutting channel which is probably about half an inch or 3/4 of an inch deep, and I fixed a metal ruler to it. Now, what we're doing is we need to cut our arrow shafts down to size. Now, in the last video, we determined what our draw length was. Now, my draw length is about 26 inches. So what I need to do is, how much do I need to cut off? This is 32 inches. Okay, so my draw length is 26. You need about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 inches overshoot. So that's about 27.5. So I'm going to cut this to 28 inches. And I hear you say, why 28 inches if I need 27.5? Because when we taper, when we cut off when we taper the end for the point and we taper the end for the nock, that actually takes off another 1/2 inch or so off the overall length. So back to the table, you can see here our shaft is 32 inches long. Okay, all I simply do is I move down to 28 inches, which is just there, hold it securely in place at this end, take junior hacksaw and give it a cut. There we go. And I now have a 28-inch shaft. Now, this piece here, we don't need, we're going to throw away. Should we throw it away? Let's throw it. No, don't throw it away. You want to keep these pieces because very good reason, okay? Now, number one reason is you can use this for practicing creating self nocks or horn nocks. Okay, so you're not actually going to be damaging an actual shaft. You use the offcut to practice. The other thing that you can do with them is use it for mixing up glue, as we're going to do in the next video when we apply the nocks and the points. Okay, so that there was the hard way of doing it. Want to know the easy way? Let's go and have a look. Hold on right there. Right, I just moved from workbench to this other area here. Now, I had the second camera set up. The easiest way of cutting down your shaft to size is using a bandsaw. Absolutely fantastic. So what we're going to do is, here's the bandsaw all set up. Okay, you set the fence to whatever desired gap you want. So if I want 4 inches, I'm going to set it 4 inches from the blade, which means that every shaft that goes through is going to be exactly 4 inches. So all we do, safety goggles, very important. A bit of noise now, bandsaw goes on, a bit of noise, and now we're going to cut away. Now when we cut this, what we do is we roll the shaft into the blade. We don't push it through. Okay, so we're just going to roll it through. And it's literally as easy as that. And what that means is you're going to get through your entire set of arrow shafts, cut them down in a matter of minutes. Now, the next part we're going to do in this is we're going to taper the ends to receive the nocks and the points. Okay, and we're going to do that prior to the next video, which is going to be all about sealing the shaft. Okay, so let's go back to the workshop, or back to the work table anyway. Okay, now we're back at the workbench. So we are now going to start tapering the shafts. Okay, so what we need to do is, I'm just going to stick that blade back up there because we don't need that one anymore. Now, There are a couple of ways of doing this. The easiest way is using one of these. Okay, this is just like a pencil sharpener. Okay, you've got a hole in either side. One is for the nock. That's for the nock. Sorry, that's for the point, and that one there's for the nock. And they come in 5/16 size. They also come in 11/32 size. So if you've got the 11/32 shafts, and they also come in 9/64 as well. If you're going down to 9/32 if you're going down that small. There are other tools. There's this one here, which is a bigger version of the bare paw one. They come with adapters. That's the 5/16 adapter, and you slot it into the end, shaft through, and exactly the same as that. What you're doing is you're sharpening like you do with a pencil. To be honest, I don't much like this one very much. I'm going to do a review of this in a later video, so I'm just going to put it to one side for now and go back to the pencil. Now, if you remember in the previous video, I said what you need to do is identify the grain and the rift, or the flower. Okay, so the flower is a series of points on the side. Now what you do is see if you can get right in close there. I don't know if you can see that as a little, so it's like an arrow point. Okay, so what you want to be doing is you want to be seeing which way those go. These ones all going to that one there, so whichever direction they go in, that is where the nock of your arrow is going to go. So we do the nock. Okay, so rift points towards the nock. In, sharpen, and out it comes, and then you can now see we have the gap, which is going to accept the nock like so, and then the nock will be completely flush with the shaft. Okay, and then we turn it over and we go the other way and we do the same thing for the point. Now the beauty with this is when you're sharpening this wood, especially cedar is beautiful when you do this, because it gives off this really nice smell. Right, there we go. We've now got the end for the point, and then we can take our point and there it goes, like that. Now these points are actually slightly smaller than the ones that I intentionally use on these types of shafts. So what I'll end up doing is trimming a little bit off this side here, and I will also serrate that, but more about that when we come to actually doing the fitting of the points and the nocks. So that bit there done, we're now going to go through and we're going to do all of the shafts, and then the next video we're going to come back and we're going to look at staining the shafts. We're going to protect the wood using an oil. Okay, on to video 7. See you in a minute.